Shalom, this is Mary Omni from the House of King David, and this is a Republic Notice. The title of this Republic Notice is called Constitutional Religious Freedom. Constitutional Religious Freedom. And I'm trying to educate more about the constitutionality of religious freedom because people are very, very confused. They don't understand because most people in this country are foreigners. They came in later and trying to intellectualize something that really does not belong to them, period. That they really have no history in or have nothing to do with. And they come here pushing their religions, talk about their religious freedom. And the Constitution don't even recognize them. Now, constitutional religious freedom has to do with the Bill of Rights, the First Amendment. The First Amendment says you have a free right to exercise your religion, petition, the government, or, assemble peacefully. And let's start with the Bill of Rights first. That's number one in the Bill of Rights. Now, the Bill of Rights, first of all, is non-consenting. That's what you need to understand. Non-consent of the Bill of Rights. The Bill of Rights is not Bill of Rights to the world. It's the Constitutional of the United States of America Bill of Rights. That means if the world comes here, they don't have an automatic right to our Bill of Rights just because they come to America. Because the Constitution don't say the Constitution of America for world immigrants. It does not say that. Show me where the Constitution says the Constitution of the United States of America for world immigrants. It doesn't say that. So it is only kin to the jurisdiction thereof and those within the jurisdiction and under the jurisdiction thereof, which is non-consent jurisdiction, because the jurisdiction was changed in 1865 because it had to be changed to abolish the institution of slavery, also to give the Bill of Rights teeth. The Bill of Rights did not have any teeth because it had the Bill of Rights consent to slavery jurisdiction. Okay? Slavery was going on with the Bill of Rights, so it was the Bill of Rights consent to slavery jurisdiction. So they didn't really have any teeth and sovereignty until they became non-consented under non-consent jurisdiction. That was the abolishment of slavery, and that means the whole constitutional jurisdiction changed, which then gave the Bill of Rights teeth of non-consent jurisdiction, Bill of Rights. Non-consented, because it's non-consent to slavery, so the non-consented Bill of Rights. Okay? So they became protected through the blacks who inherited non-consent legality within the Constitution within 1865 and became non-consenting citizens by 1868. And constitutionally, but was a nation in 1866, a non-consenting nation. Now, I had to give you that brief history because you need to understand that also the freedom of religion has to do with the separation of church and state. People don't understand that either. But first of all, let me talk about what constitutional religious freedom is not. It's not consented to everyone. We have a Black American by the name of Kieth Ellison, and he took an oath on the Koran to serve the Constitution. Now, had we been in an Islamic country and somebody brought out a Christian Bible and said, I'm going to take an oath on the Christian Bible to serve Muslims, they would have been beheaded right then and there. Somehow, Kieth Ellison thinks he can overturn our right to our Judaic Christian constitutionality. The Constitution is a Judaic Christian document. And although there is not a religious test, it means you don't have the right to test us either with your bullshit. You don't have the right to test us with foreign things that are not Judaic Christian. Okay? See, it's not only one way that the Constitution is your whore that you can test. The Constitution says there's no religious test. So you can't test the Constitution and then say I'm going to take an oath on Koran. There's no religious test. So therefore, Kieth Ellison was never sworn in. And he is in truth not a senator. He's in truth a usurper. And he's in truth right now a treasonous, whether he knows it or not. See, no religious test means you cannot test the constitutional establishment of the Constitution as a Judaic Christian document that's supreme to non-consent jurisdiction for you to test, regardless of what the hell you are and who you are. Even if you're a constitutional citizen, you don't have the right to test the Judaic Christianity that embraces all constitutional citizens. Just for your little individuality of your ego wanting to be different or trying to gain some kind of camaraderie with foreign nations. People in America and people come to America act like the Constitution is their subservient bitch. Constitution is not just subservient bitch for what you want. You know, there's no religious test, mean you cannot test our Constitution. You're not above our Constitution. You don't have no non-consent supremacy to come here and test in our Constitution from wherever you're from. And even if you're from here, you don't have the right to test our Constitution. Although you can practice whatever you want in the privacy of your home, no one is bothering you and no one is going to say nothing to you. But you don't have the right to test our Constitution. That's what the religious test is. You don't have the right to test our Constitution. F testing you, you don't have the right to test our Constitution, okay? Point blank and frank. The other thing is this separation of church and state. People don't understand what that's about. It's about this. The state is the citizens, the constitutional citizens who are dual citizens. They're not only constitutional citizens, they're citizens of the state. They're citizens of the state since 1866. They became state citizens, persons with national jurisdiction and constitutional enforcement rights in every state, jurisdiction, and territory. That's automatically, enforce the state sovereign. Any sovereign or state rights is through Black Americans only. Any sovereign or state's rights is through Black Americans only. It is no such thing as an incorporate doctrine consenting volunteer immigrant having anything to do with states' rights. States' rights are connected with the land. Constitutional citizens are the only citizens in the land contract and the only dual state citizens. Look up the slaughterhouse cases of 1873 with Judge Miller and get a clue. Get a clue that is not what your nose want, but is what God commanded and providence in this holy covenant where blacks served 339 years to have the right to claim supremacy in this holy covenant. So that states. Now, the church and state separation has to do with this. The 13th Amendment was voluntary servitude by consent. And that's by consent to serve the constitutional citizens, which is the holy nation. The church serves Israel. The church serves Israel. So the church would be those 13th Amendment, voluntary servitude by consent, to serve the Israel or the Judaic nation of the 14th Amendment non-consenters of absolute non-consent. They have God's sovereignty of absolution, of non-consent, and the 13th Amendment is those who were with us. They're the constitutional signers, writers, reconstructionists, Civil War Union soldiers, revolutionaries, the chief natives who put blacks in all their treaties in 1866. They're the church. And there is a separation because they're holy consenters, and blacks are holy non-consenters. That is the separation of church and state. They are holy consenters to serve the holy non-consenters, which are the state citizens and the constitutional citizens, the dual citizen. See, let me tell you something. And I have to say this. We had geniuses of black, white, and red that sat down at the table of brotherhood. That's our American family. And they're in the Constitution. That's our American family, not world immigrants. The Constitution is not your bitch and not your whore. And if you don't have constitutional rights, you don't have First Amendment rights either, of freedom of religion. You criticize Judeo-Christian people in this country because the dollar is your religion. And you want to whore with the dollar and the globalist banksters, and that's your damn religion. But then you got a nerve to talk about me serving Jesus Christ and the God of Israel when you making some fiat money, because you don't have no contract behind it, so it's just fiat money to you, and that's your religion. You watch your damn religion before you criticize mine, you greedy heathen whore. This has been Mary Omni from the House of King David. Shalom.